I think I know the answer to this question. What would you prefer to do? Talk about how to make a cake. Talk about all the various different recipes of the same kind of cake. We have some cooks over here called Mary Berry and Delia Smith and many others. And they all have their version of the Victoria sponge cake. So, would you prefer to eat the cake or talk about the cake? Well, all this talking, called the talking school, is quite different to the eating school. And there's so many thousands of subjects one can talk about. But the talking is not the experiencing of the subject. And often people say, wouldn't it be wonderful if. Well, religions are always talking about this, that, and the other. They think they're talking about God. The word God is thrown about here, there, and everywhere. And very few people really know or have realized God. Now, to realize the taste of the cake, I expect there are kind of cake tasting societies somewhere or other, just like there are wine tasting societies. Tasting the cake is not the same as talking about the cake. My mother used to say, well, when I was very young, and your mother said the same, no doubt, don't touch that because it's very hot. And she could talk to me until, as they say, they're blue in the face. But I had to touch the fire in order to realize, to have first-hand personal experience. Have you had first-hand personal experience of what God is? I liken talking about something as the clenched fist disposition. Everyone's talking, and arguing and saying, I am right and you're wrong. And often not very nice to accept, but millions and millions and millions of people have been killed because of disagreements over the religion. As a child, I used to think, well, there's God. Surely he's not preferring one country over against another country. So there's this person in one country praying to God, please, please, let us win the war. And the same request is being made in another country. I thought, this is ridiculous. How can there be a God, a different God? Well, religions often consider their God to be different to another religion's God. But all this talk is not the same as realizing. For me, the disposition that is God is likened to the open hand. There is this personal reality with a small r that likes to talk and talk and talk, but never really experiencing God. And there's this disposition that the body-mind can be in, which is experiencing or which is feeling God right now as a continuous reality with a capital R that has nothing whatsoever to do with the words that we might use to describe God. It's like a plain piece of paper, or an envelope in this case. There's nothing written on this plain piece of paper, but much can be written on it, and then deleted and something else written on it. But the plain piece of paper remains the same. And can you consider a plain piece of paper going all the way continuously around the world, around the globe, in all directions. And then it becomes one piece of paper. But that is the reality of the open hand disposition. What's written on the paper is the talking. So there's many things we like to experience, or we have experienced in our lives. And it's those experiences that become personal. Can you describe the taste of baked beans, or the taste of potatoes, or the taste of bread, particular bread to me? It's very difficult to put into words, to verbalize the taste of anything. You have to actually be tasting it at the time of trying to describe it, but even then, it's not the same as it becoming personal, a personal taste. Well, God can be tasted. God is available now. God is that disposition, as I liken to the open hand, which is already, see, the plain piece of paper is already the case. Irrespective of what's written on it, I can write anything on it, but the plain piece of paper is still there. The open hand disposition is still there, even when I do that. And it's realizing that place, that disposition, that never changes, which was never born and will never die. That is my God. That is the real God of capital R reality. And the essence, the quality of real God, or the qualities, is love and already happiness. Don't have to find happiness. Already joy and already intimacy. My teacher Adidar Samraj says it's already the case. It can't be created. It's already the case. And that's a disposition to realize. And once realized and tasted, you want to continually be eating God, because it's a wonderful taste. It's a joyous taste. It's a non-problematic taste. It's a no getting away from the fact that that is God taste. Woe betide Heinz, the manufacturer of baked beans, if they change their recipe. Thousands and thousands and thousands of people would be up in, they'd be not very happy. You open up a tin of Heinz baked beans and you expect it to be the same as it was previously. The recipe must never change. And that's true of a lot of food. Maybe processed food, but not necessarily processed food. We expect it to say what it says. We expect it to be what it says on the label: sweet and juicy strawberries. There's something today that often is not true. It says ready to eat. It's ripe and ready to eat on the avocado packet or on the kiwi packet, but it's far from being ready to eat. Maybe almost. But God is always ready to eat. Always there. We have to learn how to tune in, how to access God. And my teacher, Adidar Samraj, well, here he is when he was young, says that you have to have an agent. You have to have a bridge to God. You have to fall in love. You have to continually gravitate toward the spiritual master. Jesus said it, love me first, and then you will find God. The spiritual master, the divine person, is always in this disposition. So when you link up to this always disposition, you yourself become that. This, if you like, is like ice, the ice cube, which is already water, but it has to melt. So this is the ego, the small r reality of the personality. Clenched fist, always argy-bargying, always thinking I am right and you're wrong, must melt. It must melt in order to become one with God, truth and happiness. And then you can talk from this disposition in such a way that it's, if you like, juicy talk, real talk. And when you're eating a nectarine, it's full of juice and love. And you want to say, try this, it's wonderful. Oh, those strawberries, lovely. You want to share, you want to tell everybody. You're in that moment, well, this is what I'm doing. I'm sharing this fact with you, that I am, this body-mind is enjoying the company, enjoying the experience and the reality that is always already the case, which is real God, truth and happiness. And you cannot argue anyone into it. You can't argue someone into tasting the strawberry, which is full of juice and happiness and sweetness. You can only say, offer it to them. What they do with it, well. So all this arguing about God and what God is, doesn't get you anywhere. Just more and more division, more and more separation, me against you. Can you imagine the two cooks, Mary Berry and Delia Smith, arguing about my recipe for sandwich cake is better than your recipe for the sandwich cake? They're very similar, but different. But they have the similar ingredients. And God, the ingredients of God, is love, happiness, joy, peace, ecstatic, life, full of energy, intimacy, likened to the open hands coming together. Well, hope you've enjoyed my analogy. So the question was right at the beginning, would you prefer to eat the cake or to talk about the cake? That can be the same question, referring to many things. Would you prefer to go on holiday or talk about going on holiday? Would you prefer to know all about electricity, or would you like me just to switch the light on? So there we are. Realize God. Realize what you're doing is just more and more talk and chat. More and more. You're at war. We're all at war. This is at war with everybody. There's no intimacy in a clenched disposition. Maybe realize what this activity is clenching, which is realize that that is not necessary before you realize this. I'm truly blessed. It's something one can't do, but one can turn to the bridge, turn to the agent. And be re-educated maybe as well. I mean, before I can eat the cake, yes, I need to know the recipe and make the cake. Well, you need to know maybe a lot more about what real God is before you eat it, maybe. There have been realizers who realize God just like that, without all this talk. But some people need a bit more talk. I didn't. When I first came across Adidal Samraj, I immediately woke up. An immediate awakening. So enjoy the God meal. Enjoy eating, living as and with God all day long. Stop being this, stop doing this, and be this. So thank you for listening. Enjoy the meal of God. But it's not the same as being relieved of your hunger for a few moments. It's this continuous reality of a capital R that must be linked up to, communed with, must be found in every moment, under all circumstances. And you can live as love and happiness under all circumstances, which is what God wants. God wants to live you without any interference. Hold up your hands and surrender to that which is always already the case. Thank you for listening.